Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another round of the 6 Rounds podcast on the Blueprint podcast. Very pleased to be joined by a very special guest today. Today we have 3 times Entrepreneur of the Year at board level. He was financially independent at age 33, and he is the ultimate FD himself, Mr. Josh Keegan. Welcome, Josh.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Here for the second time?
Third
time?
Well, the first time was not a studio. We did it online.
Amazing. Third time. Let's go. You first.
Okay, cool. So on the last one of these we did, it was about 2 years ago, and we were sitting here and you were asking me about parenthood and what's it like to be a dad, any top tips, any wisdoms. And now we're a couple of years on. You've now got a daughter, and you've been doing it now for what, a year, 18 months?
Yeah, she's nearly 18 months.
17
months tomorrow.
So I'm going to reverse it back. What are your wisdoms? What are the trade-offs you've had to experience? What would you say to anyone that's kind of thinking about being an entrepreneur, having a child? What would you pass on to the next generation of fathers that are coming that way?
I'm so glad I did it the way I did it, where I worked hard, made my money, and then started a family. I have no idea how people with a normal working job do it, and I think it's admirable, phenomenal. I have no idea how a single parent, male or female, does it. It's just, that whole saying, that adage about it takes a village to raise a child is so true. So I think that. Second is, people say how hard it's going to be having a baby. How hard can it be? I was like, it'd be fine. I've never experienced something so challenging, and I've had 40 odd businesses.
Why is it so? What have you found hard? What's the challenges been for you? Because I think everyone experiences different stuff. I
would say from my side, the biggest thing, one was I realised my time was not my priority anymore. I was just say this frankly, when she was born, I just found it was constantly getting in my way of my day. I've had my control for my whole life, and I couldn't do the things I used to do. So I actually was like, wow, I can't believe that actually I can't do what I want to do because I've got a baby. Now, of course, I'm adjusted, and my that is now the new life, and that's the thing. So that was challenging. And then I don't mind saying, is my relationship with Sav was like put under strain. It's never been under before. And we had an easy relationship, never fallen out, never argued. How hard can it be? Like very, very challenging. And I'd say my wisdom was that. Is it all worth it? 100%. Am I jumping back in the ring to have another one straight away? Depends which day you ask me. What would your words of wisdom be with kids that are now 2 years older than Harper?
I think if I was going to give you some advice now, because you're probably about 3 years behind us on the journey. So Iris is 4.5 now. I think the relationship thing's a real thing, and I think actually if the relationship was strong, solid, and you didn't argue about the most ridiculous things, you didn't fight about. I mean, all the tension comes from exhaustion. I think that's where it comes from. I think it comes from the fact that you're both mentally and physically just tired all of the time, and you kind of lose all of the ability to give more. So before, it's quite easy to maintain your relationship because you kind of had work and you had the relationship and you can kind of put your time and energy into one another. Now, all of a sudden, all your time and energy goes into looking after this little human being, and you lose. I think it just almost takes like double the amount of energy to then give that same commitment and time and energy that you did to your partner before. Do you know what I mean by that? Does that make sense to you?
I do, and I think our experience was probably more the fact that I always think of relationships like a plant. If you water it, it grows, and if you don't, it dies. When you've got a baby, it's very hard to do even the basics, like date night, intimacy, all of that stuff starts drifting off. And then it's this, like the frog analogy, the longer you leave it, the harder it gets. And then all of a sudden, Sav and I went out last week for the first time we went for a date day in Nottingham to the new Ivy restaurant that's opened. So a day out, got completely suited and booted, doled up, planned it for like 3 weeks, had someone looking after Harper. The first time we went out, and Sav said in the car, she's like, does this feel a bit weird to you? Not like leaving the kids at home for the first time, like us going on a date.
And talking about normal stuff again, rather than, you actually want to make conversation about things and talk about stuff, and like, you start talking about like the novelties and, oh, that drink was nice, let's have a chat about that. Whereas like me and Haley at the moment, it's still now, to be fair, it's getting a bit easy. We still can't really talk with the kids because they just shout. If we start having a proper conversation, they just start talking, and they just like, until they get our attention again. So it's hard. What would you say, like, from a more of like a dad perspective? So, because that's what I'm interested in. It's like, I think we all know, and everyone knows, it's hard. Like, you have kids, no one can prepare you for what it's going to be like. You can't see physically how it's going to be as hard as it is until you're actually in the trenches and you're in it going, wow. this is different. But what kind of words of wisdom about being a good dad would you have or install in someone like me?
I would say my experience was like really isolated because my whole thing was to be in inverted commas retired for when Harper was born. So the day she was born was literally the last day I worked. So it was very different. And I think that was a gift and a curse. And I think my wisdom from my experience was I'm glad I did it because I was there to support Sav and we went through it together. But actually, being a full-time dad, I think it got to a point where it wasn't good for me. I was doing what I thought I needed to do, like a man of service. And a few of my friends said, you know, like, my missus thinks you're a hero and all this because of all I do around the house. Sav and I, in a lot of cases, were sharing Harper like 50-50, and I was doing loads because I had the time. But actually, it wasn't serving me. And then, yeah, a few of my friends said, like, I know you wear it as a badge of honour, but it's probably not actually good for you or your relationship with Sav or your relationship with Harper. And now I have Harper every other morning and every other evening. And then at the weekends we do family stuff. But 9 to 5, Sav goes to work as a full-time mum. I go to work as a full-time entrepreneur, investor, mentor, whatever you want to call it. And it works really well. But I went all the way around the houses to try and think more time would be better. And actually in our relationship, I found it's best that we don't talk all day. We don't message during the day now as practice because we were getting to the point where we were getting to the end of the day, sitting down, we had nothing to talk about.
I think speaking to you, I've spoken to a lot of board members about this, and because I wanted to understand it, because I have a similar experience because I sold the business, and I think Iris was like 1 or 6 months at the time. We did a lot of traveling for like 6 months of going away and just family time. I started doing a 3-day working week, so I'd take Fridays and Mondays off, and we spend a lot of time together. But I found it stressful. I found it unenjoyable. Like I didn't actually enjoy the amount of time. And I think having spoken to a lot of people, I think entrepreneurs, we have a drive to be productive. We like productive activity. And there's only so many times you can kind of sit around looking at them and then change their nappy again and go for another walk with the pram, get them to sleep, give them another bottle. A lot of it's just sitting and like just sitting there, like waiting for things to happen. And I think there's only so much of that you can do when you're geared the way we're geared.
I spoke to a friend recently because it's easy as well to think that's the man and the woman, but it's not. I think some of it's entrepreneurship, and I think some of it's like the masculine energy and the feminine energy. Because like the feminine is all about being surrounded by love, and like some people naturally, men and women, gravitate towards parenting. Others find it really, really challenging. Sav and I are both on that spectrum in different capacities. But I spoke to somebody recently who's an entrepreneur and a woman who has got a 3-year-old. I said, how do you find it? She says, I can't believe how slow time goes when I'm looking after my child. And it's like, to anyone outside, be like, that's horrendous. How can you say that? But it's like, there's only so many times you can read a book or colour in a piece of paper. And it's like, that doesn't mean you don't love your child. I love spending time with Harper, and I look forward to seeing her every morning, every evening. But I didn't have that when I looked after her all day. I used to think, I can't wait to go to bed. It's like, how do I get through the next 6 hours?
Feels long.
And when Sav would go away for 2 days when she was a baby, and I would look after her for 2 days and 2 or 3 nights, I would literally all day. One, I was trying to keep her alive, the baby. But the second was I was like just counting down the hours. And Sav, you know, she does it full time. So if she doesn't have the support she needs, I can see her having the same slog. So I don't feel bad saying it. I think sometimes more is not necessarily better.
I agree. I also think, so the thing that probably changes for you over the next couple of years, I think now it's much more fun to spend time with the kids. So like rather than it just being like you're just a slave to everything that they want to do, you still maintain that to an extent, but you can have a lot more fun. You start doing activities that engage in, you go on bike rides together, you can go to the park, and it's not about like health and safety the whole time. They're actually having fun, and you can let them like do their thing, which is really good. And then also I think the other thing that shifts, which takes less strain on the relationship, is probably the fatigue and the energy, because they are that little bit more self-sufficient. They just take that little bit less energy. And so all of a sudden you both start to sleep better and you get a bit more of your own headspace back. And I think those two things for me, I think that was probably when Harvey hit almost 2 years. When he got to like 2 years, it felt like a real tangible, like 2 or 3 months of like change. And now we go ups and downs, like, you know, one got a rash 2 days ago, and so that it throws a bit of chaos into the household. But it definitely shifts for the better, I think, as they kind of start.
Do you feel like an adult now you've got children?
Not especially. I still find it weird when I go to like kids' parties and I'm like one of the parents. Still find that really odd. I was there on Sunday for one, It was lovely, but it was weird that I was like a dad sitting there chatting to the other dads and the kids were playing. Oh, no, we just got to go and check on the kids. I still find it a bit odd. But like, it's one of those things where it does make you, I still think as well, like I often think about, sometimes I dream of that going back to like, I should say this, but like just being a young human, single, no kids, and just think how easy would my life be, and to be fair, you actually go back and it wasn't that easy. Like there was a lot of stress that comes with that as well. But then, like in a morning, my alarm clock is normally Harvey or Iris because they normally wake up about 6:15 every day, and then one of them will run in the room, get into bed, cuddle, and like Harvey always says like, oh, I love you very much, Daddy, and Iris will get in and cuddle you and whatever. That feeling, that's the feeling you don't get, and that every day to me is phenomenal.
Sav and I both say that. We say, would we want to go back to our life before? And the reality is, we lived that chapter. It was great, but there's also other things that was just not great about it. It was hard. It was hard work. It was, there's other things. So yeah, there's a great question. Just final asking a question of you is, Sav and I now in a great space. She's just finished her weight cut. We're like loving life, and it's fantastic. Do we have a second child? Neither of us want to throw ourselves back in the ring. Equally, if we are going to have one, we don't want to leave it too long. What would you say?
I would just kind of get it done. Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 years of pain, but then the other side of it is you've created. You'll be so grateful that you'll love. You can't imagine like loving another human being as much as you love Harper, and you will you'll love them the same, which is mental. Like it still blows my mind.
Is it better having two than having one?
It's
What's
harder.
The logic of having two?
Well, then they get each other.
And is that obviously there's a lot of like romance and a lot of logic. Like it seems like a nice thing to say, but what is it? Because they can play together. Because
the feeling of like when they're playing with each other and they're like loving each other and that you see them, and I don't know, it gives you like a weird like sense of comfort knowing that now they've got each other. So when you're gone, they've got each other.
Well, that is exactly that's literally the words that come out of Sal's mouth. Let's go for more of a. Let's stay on the theme of entrepreneurship, go for a slightly more of a business one.
Cool.
Most entrepreneurs spend their life building businesses that don't make money.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me more.
So most entrepreneurs spend their lives building businesses that don't make money. I think this is something you've been saying for years and years and years, and I believed it. And now I'm in a position where I've seen behind the scenes of, I don't know the number. I think it's probably over 200, 300 zero accounts. It's not just like speaking to people. It's literally seeing behind the scenes of actual financials. And I think obviously our business, we help people sort out their finance function, get a grip on their numbers. And I think it's mind-blowing the amount of entrepreneurs that get to that 7-figure revenue element, and it all looks good, big business, great on paper, and they've got a reputation, and things are going well, but you actually start to look at the actual margins and there's not much there. And I think the bigger issue that most entrepreneurs face is the reason they build businesses that don't make money. It's not through lack of trying. It's because their main focus is always the top line. So it's always about growth. You ask any entrepreneur how they've done this year, what their plans are for next year. They never talk about profit, do they? They always talk about, we've grown by 20% this year.
Opening 3 more offices.
Yeah, opening 3 more offices. Yeah, we doubled in size last year. We're going to do 20% next year. 20% profit? No, top line. And I think the reason for that is because if you imagine, I've used this analogy before. It's like they're sitting in this cockpit in a plane, and you've got this one massive lever in the middle, which is shiny, it's red, it's very exciting, and you've got all these little dials that are around that lever, and all they can see is this big lever, and it's exciting, it's fun, and the only tool they know how to do, the only thing they know how to do is push down on that lever. And whenever there's a problem, they push down on that lever.
It's like marketing and sales.
Yeah, marketing and sales. That's the lever. It's the growth. It's the growth lever. It's like that's all. Any problem, sales will grow out of it. Any issues, sales will grow out of it. What do we want to do next year? Let's just sell. Let's grow. Let's go. Let's grow. And you listen to any podcast, like Alex Hormozy, anybody, all they talk about is growth and sales. That's all they talk about. But then you see all these little dials, and in reality, in a lot of cases, it'd be better rather than to push that lever for another time. Ignore that lever for a year. And then look at the 10, 15, 20 little dials around it and start tweaking that. And that's the art form. And I think the true art of being an entrepreneur is being able to is how efficiently you can turn top line revenue into bottom line profit. That's the actual art. It's how can you build a system and a machine that takes the top line and gets it to the bottom. And I think that's the bit that's lacking for most entrepreneurs, and it's definitely the thing that needs to change, because you can have a business that's operating £1 million revenue wise, and it could be at 30-40% margin, or you can go to £5 million and not be operating at 10% margin. And I think most entrepreneurs know which one they'd rather own, but yet people go for that latter option, the big business with the small margins, where really the fun and the value and the lifestyle comes from that smaller business with those bigger margins.
And do you think the business model? So I completely get that, and I remember doing that with Multilet. Like, it was all about growth. And when board members come to me now and say, we want to go from whatever 300 grand a year to $1 million, want to go from 4 offices to 20. I'm like, well, let me just ask you a question. Is it because you want to do it for fun and ego, and it's just an itch you've got to scratch, or do you want to make money? Because if you want to make money, there's so much easier ways to make money.
100%, yeah. If
it's for fun and ego, I can't talk you out of it, because nobody could have talked me out of it. I wanted to do it, and you've got to scratch the itch. I think the problem is where people do it and they think they're going to make loads of money, but then they don't. And do you think, how much of it do you think is, when we talk about people that spend their life building businesses that don't make money, the sort of next level to that is, I talk about, I use the analogy of birds. So I keep chickens, always had chickens. Chicken is a bird, but it's got tiny little wings and a huge body. And sometimes it'll get over the little picket fence. Sometimes it might even get on the coop, but it'll never get over the wall of the walled garden, let alone soar the skies. Whereas an eagle's got a tiny little body, huge wings, and it just soars through the sky. And I feel like Multi-let and my letting agencies were more like chickens. They make a bit of money and they'll jump up and down, but they never fly. Whereas my other companies that I've got now, where they've got tiny teams, huge revenues and huge 6 and 7 figure margins, they're just effortlessly flying through the sky. Do you feel like people are running around trying to make money building chicken businesses, and actually it's not that they're not running them right, it's the fact that that business is just a business like aircraft or like airlines. They just very rarely make money? Or do you think it's they're not running them right?
I think there's 3 different elements. I think one is ego, as you alluded to. Like, it's an egotistical thing. Like, even myself included, like last year we recruited 8 people, and I felt, oh great, look, we've recruited 8 people. It felt
that
good.
Makes my stomach turn.
Yeah, no, I know. And it was, to be honest, it turned us from profit to loss. No, it turned us from profit to loss, and now we've got rid of a few, and now we've streamlined it, and now it's working really well. But like, it's an ego thing, both in terms of size of team, size of revenue. There's definitely that element of it. But I also think it's a skill set issue, in that it's actually really difficult. It's really hard to build a business model. It's really hard to fine tune and go, right, this business model should work, and this is how it's actually going to make the money, and this is how the margins are going to work. It's really hard when team members are shouting at the fact that they need more people, and you say, no, we can do this with these 2 people. We don't need 6 people in this department. It should work based on this, and this. It's really hard to like systemize the business so you don't need more overheads and more cost. So I think that's one of the reasons why people build these chicken businesses, is because it's all they know. And like, everyone thinks sales and marketing is hard, but actually if you just keep going and going and going, and most entrepreneurs, that's their natural skill set anyway, they will grow the company. The hard bit is then going, right, what's the actual model? What's the machine? How do we turn that top line into bottom line? The third element is kind of what you alluded to there, is around like building aircraft. It's like, there are businesses which are just not profitable. And that's also a real risk. I was chatting to a client last week who knew that this year was like their last go at it, because they knew that the business wasn't in a good place. They'd been, since COVID, it's been really hard. And we got to a place where, look, this is the model, this is the forecast. If you can pull it out, great, brilliant, it will turn itself around. But even back then, like 18 months ago, I was saying, but still, this isn't a good company. Like, the margins are low. And you start to look at it, well, your gross margins, like 35%.
What would you want to see for a GP, like a gross profit margin on a good business?
Like 70-80%.
Yeah, it's got to be, hasn't it? It's got to be like minimum 50%.
If you want, this thing, it depends what game you're playing. If you're going to go big and be things like manufacturing, food, or whatever, and you're going to go economies of scale, you might be like 35-40%. Yeah, but generally, anyone we talk to want to be 70% plus as like an absolute minimum. Maybe you start at 60 and then you build up. But the most successful business I see is all about GP. You see, some guys on our books, they're literally it's like 90, 94%. It's bonkers, and they've got some overheads. But yeah, so you want to see that, and you want to see a good GP, good NP, and then also see that the market's working with you as well. And like, this is an example where it's just not. They spent another year, no money, had to put more money into it, And they've said to me, like, do you think this is going to work? And I said, they told me that they think it's not going to work. And they said, what's your thoughts? And I said, no, I totally agree. Yeah, there's nothing here that's going, this is great. And if you've got another 10 years and you want to scale it to 5 million quid versus where you're at now, maybe economies of scale, pull it in and make it work. But I wouldn't do it. I'd do something else.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's certain parts of the market where you just think, like, maybe not retail, but like hospitality, restaurants. I'm just in the process of buying a building, which is a hotel, a pub, and a nightclub. And someone's like, "Oh, you're excited about running them?" I was like, "There is not a chance in hell I'm going to run any of those."
They sound disastrous.
Yeah, I'm going to put them on a lease to somebody who's got more energy, more enthusiasm, or more money to burn than I have, and they can make themselves 50 to 100 grand a year for running it like a dog because they'll love it or whatever. But yeah, there's just certain spaces in the market that just don't work.
But that person that's going to do that lease is in one to two camps. Either a big corporate, so they've got massive economies of scale, or they're that person that can't wait to tell their friends at Christmas that they acquired 5 sites.
Exactly. And I even have passing thoughts when I was like, maybe I should own a nightclub. Like, I always wanted to have a nightclub. I can see it. Yeah. Am I going to make any money? No. Is it going to add any value to my relationship? Absolutely not. Yeah. Is it going to be a positive? I don't think so. Right, you're up.
Okay, this one is... Okay, brutal truths. Okay, so brutal truths. So this is basically something a brutal truth you maybe need to tell to yourself, or you consistently have to tell to yourself, or maybe some sort of brutal truths that you consistently tell other people, similar to what we talked about before.
Okay.
Let's go personal first.
So for me, self-critique on
what's like a brutal truth that you know you need to tell yourself that maybe you know it's something you need to deal with or sort out, that you just need to, like, it's a truth that you don't want to admit?
Well, my most recent one would have been my relationship with Sav. Was like, after having a child, we went from having the best relationship I'd ever had or seen, and just thought, how we're soulmates, how could this be so amazing, to 12 to 18 months later being like, we've ruined everything. How could it go so wrong? And the brutal truth was, we either needed to fix it or we were going to fail. And that was like, I dragged it, both of us dragged ourselves through it for maybe 12 months. And then both of us got to the point where we were like, it's not in any of our interests to carry on with it. So that was a brutal, I had to hold the mirror up and be like, right, actually, this needs fixing or it's going to fail.
What was your part in all that?
As far as what
was your, because obviously it takes two for it to, like, diminish, doesn't it, and get to the place it was. What were you not doing that you needed to do?
So if I took Sav's critique of it, one thing was, because I've really stepped up in this chairman role at work, which basically means I don't get involved in any of the day-to-day issues, I just expect other people to get it done. She said I've applied that to my own relationship. Like, when there's issues, you know, the whole thing about men want to solve the problems, women want to share them. She wants to just talk and share the problems. I'm either trying to solve them or, actually even worse, didn't have empathy or patience for some of them. You know, that was a bad thing. Not acknowledging how challenging some of her personal issues were. So when she felt emotions or stress or was tired and I didn't feel the same, it's very easy to not empathise with that. And I didn't have that level of empathy for for months rather than weeks until it became a problem. And then I realised. So that neglect was actually making it worse.
How do you, because empathy is something I really struggle with from a perspective of, you know, there's the whole thing of, you know, get in the trench. Like, you know, when someone's, like, down, you don't just give them the solution. You have to get in the hole with them and, like, just almost sit with them for a little bit and see how they want to react. Simon Sinek talks about it quite a lot. But, like, how, because me and Hayley have this quite a lot where, like, the last couple of days she's not been quite right. She's been a bit ill. She's had a bit of a headache or whatever. And I find it really hard to, like, to manage it. Like, what do you do? What's the system for empathy?
Well,
if you don't actually feel it, what do you do?
On my SWOT analysis for myself this year, one of my personal weaknesses and threats, I've got 2 big ones for this year. One is I lack empathy, but not academically and, like, logically I can understand it, but I don't feel that, you know, if you came to me, Dan, I've had a really hard day, I wouldn't be like, oh, Josh, I feel for you.
But you're quite good at that, though. Like, I feel like you're quite... If I did come and say to you I've had a really tough time, whatever, I feel you'd be quite good at making me feel like you are empathetic.
Yeah, but so there's two weaknesses this year. One is empathy, and when I actually started looking into it, so it came to my awareness because Sav shared it with me. And I would say I'm empathetic. I spend my whole day, every day, dealing with people's problems, helping them with their problems. So there's that. And then I went away and looked at it and researched it and spoke to Louisa and everyone I could to understand it. And the only conclusion I came to is some people are emotional and some people are logical. And I am the nth degree logical. Everything's logical. You can tell me the worst thing in the world's happened. My dad's died. And I would process it logically. Right, what have I got to do? Who do I need to support? What's the next step? What should I feel guilty for? There's the lack of emotion there. It's just I'm a logical thinker and I think logically. And the problem is when someone's emotional and you're logical, if you came to me in tears because something, and you were emotional, I would be able to logically support you, see the wood from the trees and help you. But some people don't want that. Some people want someone to come down to their level emotionally and break down with them, have a cry with them, drink a bottle of wine and, do whatever. Like that's where, so I don't. I just now appreciate that if Sav's emotional, she doesn't need my logical solution. She needs a cuddle. She needs me to say, I can understand how that's frustrating. I can understand why you feel like that. And having now used it and practiced it, it at 100% works. And I've asked Sav and she says, that's all I need to hear in the moment is that my emotions are validated or whatever. And also when someone's in an emotional situation, whether it's at work or business or it's a board member or a partner, you can't resolve emotion with logic. It needs to be met with emotion in the moment, clear the air, settle down, remove the emotion, and then deal with the logic sort of thing. So again, it's a logical solution to an emotional problem, and I haven't cracked it. But that would be one of my brutal truths is I've lacked empathy, emotional empathy. But it's not like I look down on people or judge them. People come to me with all sorts, and I just like, yeah, I'll help you, I'll sort you out. And then my other brutal truth is I'm now moving into this next level, which I have ultimate freedom and choice. Naval Ravikant's got a great quote saying, if you want to see someone who really is, if you want to see how nice someone really is, wait till you see how they behave when they've got money. And now I've got time and I've got money, I have very little patience for certain things. And if I take it to the polar, when I had multi-let, I would sit through I would have the most patience for months, bad employees, except I just don't have a second's patience now. And there is a problem, there is a danger that I could then become arrogant and become entitled. And I know people who I look at and think, you are that person. I don't want to be that. And I'm just in tune to the brutal truth is, if I actually completely stopped giving a shit and started completely letting go, I would overstep the mark where actually that doesn't serve anyone. Do you know what I mean? What's
wrong with you going to that level though? What's wrong with being arrogant and becoming that person?
Because that's not who I want to be. On property.
But it's not who you are either, is it?
No, it's not who I am. I want to be authentic. Luckily the roles have been nicked and now been written off, and I'm so pleased because it was not authentic. It wasn't really me. It was just another wrong turn and itch I needed to scratch. But that whole spectrum of you got people who are entitled, which are selfish people. All they care about is themselves, transactions. And then selfless people, all they care about is helping others, thinking about others, putting themselves last. I've always lived there for 20 years. Everyone before me, I'm a suffering person. Say that's a 0, the other end's a 10. I've gradually got towards more like a 3 to a 5. Now I'd probably want to be more like a 5, a 6, where it's a good balance, but actually I'm doing what I want and things like that. And that's a brutal truth is if I don't keep an eye on it, that will end badly for me. What about you? What would yours be?
So mine, it probably comes down to weaknesses as well. I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think brutal truth and something that, well, there's probably two actually. One that springs to mind is, I think that the way I think sometimes I believe my own hype. So I think one of the benefits of being part of PE for so many years is obviously I came in very young through that door, 24, whatever. And you looked after me for years and years and years, and I've achieved some stuff, but I think it's a bit dangerous because I think you can sometimes believe you've made it before you actually have, in terms of the what's presented, the image of you and stuff like that. And I think I think that's something I just want to kind of stay on top of that and make sure that I'm still pushing as hard as I need to get where I actually want to get to. Does that make sense?
100%.
You must have it too. I mean, people are praising you all the time for everything you've done and everything you've achieved.
Well, luckily mine was the other way around. I always talk about high performance. People think you're up here, you're actually probably here, but you feel like you're down here. I've always had low self-worth, which is what done me really, really well. Yeah. Now I'm trying to undo it. But if you feel like yours is more elevated, I've never felt special. Never felt. I hate being on stage. I've never enjoyed that center of attention thing. So that was never my issue. My issue was the other end of it, which is the same.
I've definitely the last couple of years I've matured a lot. Like now being on stage, I enjoy it because it's being on stage, but it's not like a part of my ego anymore. I feel like if we said right, you're never going on stage again, it bothered me because I enjoy doing it. It's like a meditation. It's like it's all you can think about when you're on there. And it's like you're in flow, but it's not like caught up with me anymore. So that's something. And then the other thing I think the other brutal truth for me is I'm definitely motivated by the stick, not the carrot. And it's like I'm always trying to get the businesses into this brilliant place where the portfolio is in a great place, the Ultimate FD is in a brilliant place. But I really thrive when the shit is the fan. Like that's where I'm actually at my best. Like I'm so good when things go wrong. Big team member leaves, we lose a big client, there's a cash issue, whatever. That's where I just I have like 3 or 4 days of like dwelling on it. Oh, it's annoying this has happened. But then all of a sudden I'm like, I just go into beast mode, and that's when I'm so diligent, I'm absolutely at my best. So it's a big weakness because that's not the way I want to be. And that's something I'm trying to look at this year. How do I re-engineer that? So it's not the stick that motivates me, it's the carrot. And I'm acting proactively rather than reactively to problems.
Yeah, I get that. And the thing is, there's two bits. Like one is, all that matters is you're happy. I've got a friend who earns multiple 6 figures, hasn't got a single penny of savings, but he just doesn't care. He wants his kids to have great memories, he wants to do, and it keeps him going and he's happy. So it doesn't really matter that he does that, he's happy. But if you've got that underlying thing that you're not aligned with it, on the board we do a new exercise called Identity Crisis, and it's where you want to be this person, but you're stuck in these bad habits of being this person. This was me trying to get to chairman level and being stuck being a workaholic. You got a breakthrough, and if you literally just get a piece of paper and write who you want to identify as on the right hand side, whatever those things are, and then who I do identify as, you'll notice they're complete opposites. And then if you do the breakthrough process for 28 days of just pretending to be that person, all of a sudden you do it. I pride myself now on being at spa days most of the week. I had a massage afternoon yesterday. I pride myself on that. If you'd have asked me 3 years ago, I'd have either pretended I wasn't going or I wouldn't have gone, because I'd be like, no, I've been working since 5 a.m. and I've been like, it's who we identify as. It's complex, but that self-awareness is where it will change. That's a great one. Seeing as we're on the sort of critical side of things, let's pull it back to a finance side of things. So when we think about money mindsets, business, personally, what would you say if you were to choose 3 biggest successes and 3 biggest failures? These can be for yourself or your clients or things you know. What are the biggest successes you've seen, decisions people have made that have paid off? And what would you say the 3 biggest mistakes are that you consistently see people make that would save other people making the same?
Good question. 3 biggest successes. Let me write a couple down. I think so. 3 biggest successes. I think the first one is something that I've just gone through a journey on, and it's just changed the game for me. And it's been massive, and that's right product, right price, right product, right client, right price. And what I mean by that is, so right product being have one, and that's what kind of fits onto the mistakes. So not trying to have lots of different products. Have one main product that you sell. And Akash talked about this. I did a podcast with Akash a while ago, Akash Fagala, one of our partners, and he talked about the fact he went to a retreat in Mexico, and it's brutal. Like apparently, there were like 12 of them or so, and they basically lined them up. They sat in order of their revenue, and Akash was right down the bottom end from a revenue perspective, even though he's a very successful guy. But he said he spoke to all of these different people, and basically all of them said they have one business, they have one product. That's all they have, and it's just like the value of doing that is absolutely huge. So right product is one product, high LTV, lifetime value, which is important. It's a high price, and then ideally a recurring revenue on the back. Right client is basically someone that can afford it and values what you do. And we've had a massive shift in who we work with now, and it's been huge. And then the right price being the price is less than the value perceived. So it can still be a high price, but if they value it £100,000 and you sell it for £80,000, it's going to be an easy sell and a nice easy win. And that's been like huge for me. I think the last 3 or 4 months we put this into place, and it's just changed everything. Like the whole business has just shifted gear. We're selling now. We did 180% of our sales target this summer in about 8 sales. Previous times we've hit like 104%. It's been like 17, 18 sales. So if you think about the workload, etc., that comes in and how much value these people have to us, it's very, very different. I think that's probably one of a big success. I think other successes is just before you do anything, make any decisions, build a model it, understand what the impact's going to be. And I would always do that with some sort of FD or somebody that understands the numbers financially. So if you're going to launch a new product, if you're going to create a new commission scheme for your sales executive, if you're thinking about hiring 5 people next year, have someone actually model it with you, like work out what does it look like, how's it going to impact the numbers. And third success...
Probably just for that as well, for people listening, you obviously, outside of my investment companies, you do that for all of my businesses, like the modelling, the forecasting, and we wouldn't make a decision in the business until it's done in the business model. So it's like anyone who hasn't got that, it's even at my level, like that is where we start. It's not an afterthought, it's the first thought.
And the third, and this actually ties into one of my topics, which I won't ask now, would be just monthly management accounts, like the basics. Like if you want to run a successful business, you want to have systems to actually manage your financials. You want to have a team, we call it the 4 professionals, and then the output from that is management accounts. And it's incredible how many 7-figure entrepreneurs don't have those monthly management accounts. It blows my mind. Like my business wouldn't exist if they did. And there's a huge market of people that have got to that 1 million, 2 million, sometimes 5-6 million pound turnover, and that they still don't have monthly P&Ls, balance sheets, cash flows to see what's actually going on. And like that's one of the successes that people put in place, because when you get that right, that's like it's like the dial in your car. It's like it's telling you how fast you're going, how slow you're going, how much fuel you got left in the tank, like how you're accelerating, what your miles per gallon is. It tells you absolutely everything. If you don't have that, you're just you're leading blind.
Well, when I used to sit on loads of boards, I do less now. Obviously, you know a few of them because you do all the books for them. But I would say to them, they'd instruct me to join as a non-exec, and I'd say, I can have a look at the finance pack or the board pack, the management accounts, and they say, we haven't got them. I'm like, the point of having me in the business is pretty pointless. I'm not here to talk about your product or your team in the main. I'm here to talk about your model and your forecast and your strategy and your growth plans and stuff like that. So yeah, completely get that. I'd say some of mine, I'd say that probably like successes and probably weakness, and this probably aligns with what you were saying, it should help you level up, is that window of opportunity. So at the minute you're still enjoying what you're doing, and I'm convinced it's like 7 to 10 years maximum, and that when that window of opportunity goes, and I'm advising a couple of people at the minute on exits, but they're at the point where they're ready to throw the keys through their letterbox and they're still running sales and marketing, and you're like, this is a death by 1,000 cuts. What I had with Property Entrepreneur for like 5 years, I just got more and more miserable. The results went down and down and down, and the writing was on the wall. And really, you want to use that window of opportunity to get the business profitable, get to a point where it's either sellable or scalable, and then bring an MD in to take over. Because when you are burnt out and tired, you've got to be able to get out. And if you haven't got the money, the financial fortress, things like that, it's a problem.
What would be good actually to do is, because obviously I've seen you go on this journey of coming back, and I've seen it from like a full-blown financial perspective. I know how it all works. I've seen all the numbers. And like, it's blown my mind. Like to see you come away and like just add credibility to what you're doing. I don't think anyone needs additional credibility, but it's blown my mind about just seeing what's actually happened to the business from a P&L perspective with you coming back. And like the energy that your MD's thrown at it is just, it's just next level. Like, and now it's so obvious because I can see how it used to be, how it is. I can see the financials, see the numbers. And the energy that the new person has to focus on everything and build everything and make everything work really well, the impact on the bottom line is ridiculous.
Yeah, and when I'm teaching the board members, you need an MD. The analogy I use, and I use you all the time, and I know you're probably sick of it by now, but when I say about, I told you for like 4 years to get an assistant, and you're like, no, I don't really need one. Now you've got one, you wouldn't live without one, would you? And I'm the same now with managing directors. So I just wouldn't get involved in a business unless I've got a managing director to run it. People are like, yeah, but I'm the MD. I'm happy to do that. And I'm like, my biggest piece of feedback for you is you are a piss poor MD because you're doing it part-time, if half-hearted, you're in those one-to-one meetings and you wish it was over. You don't want to do a PDP review, blah, 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 because you're making enough money because you're getting the job and you're getting the bottom line. Imagine if you could pay somebody to be a full-time MD. They're more motivated by the success of the business than you are because they're going to earn crazy money from a business they haven't even had to build or buy. And it just compounds. So yeah, I think that's understanding when you're good in that role, and then when you need to pass the baton is
When's the right time though? Because I'm in this boat now where in Ultimate FD I'm still doing sales, and I know that's coming off my list next year. That's the big one that's got to come away from me, and then I'm like, well, MD will be after that. But like, would your advice be, no, don't do that. Get the MD in now.
Well, obviously, it completely depends on who you are, where you are on your journey, what you want to do. I would say the financial line in the sand is when you're making 300 to 500 grand a year, you should then bring an MD in on 100 to 150 grand a year with some sort of long-term incentive package, performance-related pay, maybe even an equity buy-in in most cases, because you've got the money. So I would say that's the financial trigger. Before that, it's a false economy. The business isn't big enough. You can't afford it. But at 300 to 500 grand, you can earn a salary. They can earn a salary. And actually, you'll go into the dip and then you'll go up to £1 million or £2 million profit without, or even just get your life back and still make £500,000 or £1 million a year, whatever you want. So financially, it's that. The difficulty bit is there's this fun period, which you may still be in or you might be coming to the end of, and you don't want to talk people out of it. So I sat in on a board meeting this afternoon with one of the board members, and they said they want to do the CEO role themselves for the next 3 to 5 years to quadruple the bottom line. And I said, why do you want to do it? Is it for fun or is it for profit? And they said, I want to do it for fun. Don't want to skip the gears. I said, well, that's fine, but the likelihood is it's going to burn you out. It's going to be 40 hours a week. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be horrible. Unless you really want to do it, I would say get somebody else to do it, but they wanted to do it. So if you want to do it yourself. But then the danger is when you run out of gas, it's a cliff edge. And the reality is I think it takes 1 to 2 years to do a proper baton pass. You saw me do it with Adam, right?
Yeah.
With Property Entrepreneur. I was already 2 years off the cliff edge when I said to Adam, I'm either going to bring an MD in, I'm going to sell the business, or I'm just going to put the keys to a letterbox and you guys can sort it out between yourselves, because I was done for it.
Yeah.
What that meant is once I made the decision, I then had another 2 years of pain to get myself out of the business. And now I'm out, I'm like, oh yeah, it's great, it's all worked out fine, I'm getting everything I want. But that was another 2 years of pain after I'd already had 4. Really, I should have done that 2 years before that. So I think it's having the self-awareness to understand when the dial of fuel and energy is running low, then start thinking about passing a baton. And the thing is, when you wouldn't bring an MD in unless the net return was positive. So the idea is, for the 2 year handover, you're going to go into a dip, do work you don't want to do, and spend money that you don't want to lose or whatever. But then when you come out the other end, like you've seen the financials of Property Entrepreneur, you then get your return on your MD. You put 2 years of money and time in. That cost me about £500,000 in cash. MD, extra team, mistakes, handovers. But then you come out the other end and you're into the 7 figures. So It's like, it's all worthwhile. So I would say that is not an easy question to answer, but hopefully that gives you some context.
No, it definitely does. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. You're up.
I'm up. Okay. I think we should shift on to something a bit different. So how about training? We started talking about it before. Health, fitness, where are you up to? What's going on with you at the moment? How's it looking? What's like the latest like scheme? What are you following and what's working?
So I'll tell you something about health. It's so much easier to be healthy and low stress and in shape and self-care when you've got loads of time, loads of money. Like, I know it's all good. You say, yeah, you're an entrepreneur, you'll look after yourself, don't burn yourself out. I have loads of time on my hands. So the idea of going walking for 2 hours in an afternoon to a massage parlour and then having a 90-minute massage, which is what I did yesterday, it's just a great way to spend the day and I love it. Should I have done it 3 years ago? Probably. Could I have done it? Absolutely not. But
you did the incredible bulk. Like, was that 2 years ago?
Well, I've never actually done a full-on cut since then.
Okay.
I went up to 75. I'm now down to 65, and I'm going down to 62, 63. At the minute, it's easy, but my whole thing for next year is going to be a year of the sweet spot. And I've come up with this new analogy, which I'm teaching the board in December, called beast mode doesn't work. And it's this whole feast and famine of you do a huge bulk, and then you go do a crazy weight cut, and then you end up putting loads of weight back on. And although the line slowly goes up, it's like unnecessarily bouncing off the barriers. What I've realised is this weight cut I've been doing now, I've probably been doing for like 4 months, 5 months. And it's been really gradual, really easy. It's a sustainable solution. And it's just a different chapter of my life. And everything now is about the sweet spot. So I'm doing 2 gym workouts, not 4. I'm doing 12,500 steps, not 10. I'm just doing things that are more sustainable, and I'm getting rid of the extremes and just doing sweet spots. But that's just where I am in my journey. What about you?
Yeah, in a good place. I'm thinking it's quite prevalent for me at the moment. I'm trying to work out, obviously, as you know, we're in the cave trying to work out next year. And I think I almost did this last year, but I didn't. And I think my year of, is going to be year of the athlete. Because I've just learned that I'll work. Like, I always work. I'll open my laptop, I'll crack on. My whole day is often focused around like some sort of work and pushing stuff forward and cracking on. And sometimes that comes at the cost of the gym. Sometimes I don't go. Sometimes I reschedule the days. Sometimes I'm like, the workout's meant to finish in an hour and 10, but, I really need to get on a call. So I'll end the workout early. But I'll never skip a piece of work. I'll always get that done. And I just think what my plan is for next year is to totally shift it from work being the number one thing to making my health being that number one thing and focus, and then build work around that. So I've already started making some changes. Like in the mornings, I've started going to the gym again in the mornings, whereas I slipped into the habit of going at 3 in the afternoon, and sometimes that doesn't happen. I was quite good at going, but sometimes it doesn't happen. But I'm just starting to try and shift it all, and then I'm thinking about just getting into some CrossFit competitions, just entering some stuff that will push me physically, as well as just getting control of my food and my diet.
And what is the aspirational outcome?
I think physique. I think so. I've managed to get the last 2 years. I've got really consistent with my training. I have a PT on a Friday. He then does my programming for the rest of the week, and I normally always hit 3 gym sessions plus football plus a run, and that's I normally hit about 4 hours a week, and I'm trying to increase my capacity for 5. But I think my food and my diet, I'm pretty healthy, but I do overeat in terms of generally quite clean food. But now the kids have all their food in the house as well. I'm probably picking up 200, 300 calories a day just through eating their leftover chips or their just stuff I'm preparing for them. I'm the amount of training I do, cycling I do, the amount of movement I do, my physique should be good. And I put on some muscle mass. So I really want to get my body fat down. And really I want to conquer the whole food thing, because I still don't have that control over what I eat, what I don't eat, particularly when I'm preparing food for other people. So I want to get that sorted. And to be honest, I guess more than anything, I go to the gym, and I go to a box, a CrossFit style gym. I look at the people in there that are in good shape, and I just think, why have I not done that? Do you know, why have I not done that? Because they inspire me a lot to look the way they look, be in the shape they look, to beat themselves on a Saturday. And my PT now, he's definitely got to a place now where he's my hero for the year ahead. He's just in such good shape, such a nice guy. And we're playing paddle. I messaged him, said, "Do you want to play paddle on Saturday? Because I've got a space." And he was like, "Yeah, definitely, I'm in. I'll be there." And it's he's never says no, goes and competes in competitions, and he trains because he just loves it, and it's his life.
How would you calibrate your workload and stress level?
In terms of
in traditional work and at work?
Workload's quite high at the moment. We're going through a transitional phase, but stress levels not too high. I don't get particularly that. I don't get stressed as I used to anymore.
I think having tried to kick habits, drinking, overeating, anything in excess, all of it's come together in the last year. And when I look back on what it actually came down to, it was workload and stress.
Yeah.
You can try and be the fittest, healthiest person you want, but if you're stressed and you get to the end of the day and there's a couple of beers or a cake or some crisps going,
I know.
For me, I was just straight in. And I used to drink. I didn't realise, somebody said to me recently, the reason people drink is because they're just unhappy. They work their arse off, they get to Friday and they can't wait to have a drink just to escape. I was like, do you know what? That was literally my life for probably a decade. And now my drinking, my alcohol consumption, you've heard me talk about it for years, has just gone through the floor. I may have, in fact, I may have 1 drink, 2 drinks, and you did that a couple of years ago. And then, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, and it's sound. But as soon as I find myself going into, in fact, the idea of having that bad habit of excessive drinking and excessive eating and eating crap food now, because it makes me feel rubbish, and I actually understand now what feeling good feels like, the motivation to do it is so low, and I wondered why that was, and it's all down to reducing my workload and reducing my stress.
Maybe that's it. I think it's probably priorities as well, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
like
time is such a big one. It's
Yeah.
so much easier to go to the gym to me, going to the gym is just a social now. 90
Yeah.
minutes, some steps afterwards.
yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think I'm excited for this year. It feels like it's. I think I just need to go to that extreme. Do you know what I mean? Go to that extreme, and when you go to an extreme, you find a new normal. Normally,
Well, that was what sort of closing sentiment. That was what sort of made me think about stress level. Is the reason I never cracked it for years was because I was always feast and famine. If I was doing a weight cut, I was going bone dry down to 58 kilos, shooting at like 60, and I was just an emotional mess on the way down and on the way out. And the extreme, I think, in my life was like a bad thing.
do you have a target that you're working towards health wise? Is it just your metabolic age, or are you looking at something else?
Well, all of my stats are actually pretty bang on. Like my resting heart rate's like 38 to 42. My heart rate variability is solid. My body weight, if you ask Akash, he'd say I need to be down at 61. I was planning to go to 64. My health, I went to London, had one of these full-on, over a period of about 3 months, full-on health. I had everything done, bone density, organ scans, bloods, eyes, ears, cardio, VO2 max, and pretty much everything was pretty good. And they said my peak weight would be 67, so I came down from 70 to 67. So I went 67 to 65. Akash is now saying down to 61. I'll go down to 64, 63, see how it looks. My only stat that is completely uncontrollable and terrible is sleep. We've all got our whoop. Have you got your whoop strap?
Mm-hmm.
We've all got our whoop strap now, and all the other board members are getting 7, 8 hours. I'm like 5 hours, 5:30, and I don't feel tired most of the time, and I don't mind it. But my sleep is terrible. It's always been terrible.
I'm the opposite. I'm always top of the leaderboard for sleep. It's really weird.
But that's a good thing. That's probably why you look so young.
Well, thank you. But it's like, have you been doing the diary on the Whoop?
No, mine always just says, "Did you have COVID-19 symptoms yesterday?"
No, you can optimize it. But I've been doing that every morning.
To be honest, I don't really understand the Whoop. I'm just letting the team tell me.
Letting it happen. So basically, every morning it'll ask me like for a diary entry. It only takes like less than a minute, but then once you've done enough, it starts to tell you like what has an impact, like detrimental impact and a good impact on your restoration.
Okay.
And like, for example, I've had a habit for a long time where I tend to read in bed, but then me and Hayley, we have a little iPad and we'll sometimes watch a show for like 15, 20 minutes before we go to sleep. And we do that most nights. It's always been like something we've always done. And I've started like logging that. It says, have you watched a screen device in bed? Yeah, if so, what time did you start? How many minutes? And I put that in every morning. And now I've used it long enough because we've had it for about a month, haven't we? And it's starting to give me the data. And apparently if I watch a screen in bed, which is meant to be really bad, my restoration goes up by 11%. So it has a positive impact on me rather than a negative impact on me. Same with reading. If I read in bed or whatever. And I just don't know, like all these things that they've said is wrong. Because I've always watched shows in bed, like since I was at uni. And then it all came out, oh, there's a problem. I had to use these devices, but it's just, apparently for me it's not. And Whoop's saying it's not. But it's really good because it just starts to say, like, all right, if you eat past 8 p.m. in the evening, it has a 5% detrimental impact on your sleep.
Well, that's really good. That's what I need. I need to just know what the thing is to get it done. Because at the minute, I've got no idea. Although I haven't got into the Whoop, as in I'm tracking my data and just waiting for it to do its thing, and I will figure it out. Getting this Garmin watch about
Garmin's really
9
good.
months ago, a year ago, changed everything for me. I can see if I have a couple of alcoholic drinks.
Yeah, you can see heart rate variability. Yeah.
The whole thing. I wake up.
I know. Yeah.
It's
Whoop's the same. It does do the same thing. I've let go of my Garmin now because I didn't want to, but the Garmin's fantastic.
Yeah, and I will get the same with my Whoop. It's just that's obviously a bit clever, and I'm not that clever yet on that sort of thing. Nice. Right, last but not least. Is it last but not least?
I think it's last but not least, yeah.
Right, let's aim to finish on a high. So, something people will get the most value out of, I think.
Okay.
So this round's called Set and Forget. And whether it's all the things we've talked about, business, life, finance, the finance function, wealth creation, what do we think? Let's try and in 8 minutes give people as much value as possible. What are all the things we think we can give people that they can set up, lock in place, and then completely forget about, and it'll get them to the next level on anything in life? What are the things they can set and forget?
From like every avenue. Give me an example. What are you thinking?
I would say paying in monthly to the S&P 500.
Okay.
Doesn't matter what investment advice you lead, what podcasts, track these stocks. I've read everything. I've tried it. I traded stocks for 2 years. Without question, over my life, the S&P 500, everything you read. Look at the stats over 100 years, 30 years, 20 years. It delivers the best returns. So paying into the S&P 500 every month without fail, Whether it goes up or down, you don't care, because over the term you'll do fine. That would be one.
Okay, cool. That's a good one.
Ideally for a pension, for a Vanguard.
Paying yourself on the 28th of the month.
Yeah.
It's one of yours. So every single month, it doesn't matter what it is, you always pay yourself from all your different companies up to your holding company on the 28th of the month. It's the part of the Financial Fortress Blueprint. And I think another one as well is everyone should be, as a director, have a minimum, you'd be on payroll for your minimum basic allowance. That's something that's once again, just set and forget.
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise you won't get your national, although there's not going to be any state pension when we're older. But
I think a finance team. That's another one that we advocate quite a lot. We talk about the 4 professionals. I've talked about this before. But you have your finance assistant, your bookkeeper, your finance manager, and your tax accountant. Set them up, give them their roles and responsibilities, and they can generally run your accounting function for you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Anything else from you?
I would say workouts.
Okay.
Like the beginning of the week. Well, Sunday Sanity. Mine's 3 o'clock on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Obviously I move it. But every week, and I've done this for as long as you've known me, sit down for an hour. I love it. Plan my week, create the ideal week, and I just plan my week. And within that, put my workouts in. You just set them in place. If you've got a PT, I used to do it always the same time. Nowadays, I do 2 workouts a week at midday, depending what the week is. It will vary the day, but they're set in, they're carved in stone, they don't get missed. 1 massage a week is another one for me.
Nice
so
one.
my calendar, there's just things that I know make me feel good, but if they're not set and I can forget about them, then they just don't turn up.
Cool. Meal prep? Do you prep yours or do you buy them?
Mine's different. So I don't do meal prep anymore. I do set meals. So I basically eat the same every day. And I absolutely love it.
So you got more time. Game changer for me was starting to get weekly meal preps every Tuesday. Gets delivered. All my lunches sort of for the week, high protein, etc. That's really good. I think with you going on from your PT, I think if you are health and fitness, have someone program your workouts. Whether you're using AI or whatever, like just don't turn up to the gym where you don't know what to do. Like just have someone that tells you what to do, that tracks all your metrics, etc. So you can literally, how you're improving and you know what's going on and you don't have to think about it. For example, default diary.
Yeah.
Big one.
Within default diary as well, I don't know if you do this, but on my house, so for example, Property Entrepreneur, my house, all of those are in my diary, the deadlines, and then Emma puts the work to be done before. So all of the work that I have to do for Property Entrepreneur
scheduled
is just in the calendar, and I never have to think about what I've got to do and when I've got to do it. It's just there.
Yeah, nice. I think a big one for me is probably the family commitments as well. That like when I'm looking after the kids, what's going on, because I find that's tough if you don't get top of that stuff. What other wealth ones could we do?
I would say I've actually set a thing for next year, which might be excessive, and it probably is an example of extremism. I haven't walked the line for like 2 years probably. So walking the line, I'm actually making it a monthly thing now for the team. Every account, every bank statement, every management report. Because the amount of stuff that slips in, like I see something the other day, it was like, obviously, you know what it's like. And yeah, just walking the line on a monthly basis. And obviously initially it's going to take an hour, a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But you should get to a point where it takes no time because there's nothing in there.
I think like on the finance side, monthly management accounts is a bigger one. So it's kind of progressing from water line, actually reviewing your P&L, your balance sheet, your cash flow every month, monthly cash flow statement. Once again, all these things when they're set up, they can work really well, really nicely. Annual forecast, your modelling, all that kind of side of stuff can be really important.
I've director's dashboard just set in my calendar. So
Same, yeah.
The director's dashboard, 5th working day or 10th working day, depending on which company it is. And I just go in my calendar, click on the link, and it's there, populated, ready to review.
On a lower level, you got your scorecards and your KPIs. So all your team every Monday have to update or you get someone to update their scorecards. Every team member has a scorecard. One-to-ones, not for you now, but for me, like all my one-to-ones are in the Tuesday. They're in their recurring meetings, and once again, it just means you have the management and control every single week in it.
Yeah, those accountability
time.
spikes all the way from. I've got a model I'm teaching the board next week. Really simple one of world-class MD. It's like, what is a world-class MD? It's annual strategy, AGM, QGM, monthly review, weekly SCS, daily, whatever you do on your dailies.
Time tracking?
Yeah, I've not time tracked for a while, but
I track everything. I think once you get into time tracking and then reviewing your time once a week is very, very powerful to look at.
When it's a scarcity, 100%.
Well, I love it as well to like I really like looking at the end of the year and then working out what I've earned from this or that or whatever, and then dividing
because what you tell yourself intuitively is completely wrong. It's not intuitive eating, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's no calories in that. There's loads of calories in that.
It's totally wrong. I think fitness and health trackers, like we just talked about, get them set up. I think Garmin's brilliant. I think we're kind of experimenting with Whoop at the moment, but just like tuning into your body battery and what impacts your sleep and what impacts everything. Default meal times as well, and like you said, like what you actually eat for those meals. So although I have meal preps, like generally I eat the same things for most meals.
We're going to talk about the sweet spot as well. Like my whole sweet spot thing is, and it's not like I'm eating set meals, and I've eaten set meals for probably 5 years, 6 years. It's not because it's not like a punishment, and I'm looking at someone else having a bacon sandwich thinking, oh, I wish I could eat that bacon sandwich. I'm eating the things I eat because I know they make me feel good. I'll eat them and I enjoy it. So my breakfast is always sourdough toast, 3 poached eggs or 3 fried eggs, depending where I am, and 100, 150 grams of smoked salmon. And because I don't eat it till 11 a.m. because I fast every morning, by the time I get to it, I'm not so hungry, but I'm ready for it. I'm excited. And I just love
enjoy it.
Yeah, I just enjoy it. And then later in the day, have you got into electrolytes?
Not yet.
Yeah, so I started taking electrolytes in January. I did a 30-day carnivore cut just to see what that would be like. Really interesting. Started taking electrolytes for training. Honestly, I would say visibly, whether it's placebo or not, Akash reckons it's probably just for once in my life being properly hydrated. I can physically feel the difference training. So I'll have my breakfast at 11 and then I'll have 2 litres of water with ice and electrolyte in. And that'll sort of keep me going till dinner and that whole process. And then obviously, what supplements are you taking?
Well, that's actually something I wrote down. So that's something I need to sort next year. So that's something I've never cracked. Like I was taking creatine for a while and I got consistently doing that. I don't take anything. I take nothing. So, but generally, as I kind of start doing the rounds, the things that people suggest would be vitamin D, creatine. You fill me in. What do you have? Multivit.
Yeah, so say vitamin D,
yeah.
Especially this time of year. I was just going to get ill with the kids. So vitamin D, creatine, NMN.
What's that?
It's like the anti-aging cell replacement thing.
Well, like what's it called, like the stuff for your skin.
I think it's more like internal biology. I'm not an expert in it, but it's one of those ones like David Sinclair raves. It's got NMN and resveratrol, is it?
Okay, nice.
You know, the thing everyone says, it's in red wine. It's good for have 1 glass of red wine.
Yeah.
And he's like, to get enough resveratrol, or whatever it's called, resveratrol from red wine, you'd have to drink like 100 litres or something.
Yeah.
So you can take that. That's in a NMN tablet. I take on my health check came up. I've got slightly high cholesterol, so I'm taking supplements for that, which is basically just like the vegan alternative to cod liver oil.
Nice.
I think that's it.
Nice.
And then I take tricomplex magnesium at night, 450 milligrams, just to try and help me sleep.
Does it work?
I couldn't tell you. It's not effective.
What other hacks do you have? Any life hacks? Is there anything you've got on your cards at the moment that's like changed the game, like a new backpack or like, I know Lululemon. One of mine was Lululemon trousers. When I discovered Lululemon trousers, I was like, these things are insane. Well, like, have you got anything?
Runderwear.
What are these?
Runderwear.
Like anti-chafing underwear.
Yeah, for running.
I think someone tried to make it bison when I was running a marathon. Does it work?
Amazing.
Is it?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Runderwear. Obviously, I've always had a chauffeur and a driver, but normally that's for booked stuff, things like that. At the minute, I've been getting loads of Ubers. Even if an Uber's like, my mum needed me to go look after a dog, she had to take a partner's hospital. And rather than go home and get my car, I just got an Uber. It was 40 quid for a 50-minute drive. I could work in the back, I could chill in the back, I could sleep in the back. And actually, when you get in an Uber and it's not your chauffeur, you haven't got a conversation.
Well, that's what I'm going to do after this. So, like, I got the training this morning, but then Hayley's got to be at an appointment. The time's changed. And I can get my train or I can just jump an Uber. It'd be like 70 quid. But I'll be back. It's door to door, isn't it?
I don't even look at it. I just, whatever the Uber is, it could be 7 quid or it could be 200 quid. I'm just like in the car.
It's brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. On demand.
I do it from the Belfry time every now and again. It's like, that is a nice little hack. It's just get an Uber. Yeah. It's brilliant. It's like 100 quid. They
on
love
demand.
You
You'd have to worry about a chauffeur being outside waiting for you if you're late, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, we'll have to finish this round in a second. Any last minute hacks or set and forgets?
Oh man. I don't know if I've got any more.
Melatonin.
Melatonin.
So this is probably my last one to end on. So melatonin, so basically, obviously my sleep's always been terrible. Flying back from Bali, one of the board members said, have you got any, or Adam said to me, take some melatonin. I said, I haven't got any. And one of the board members had some. He said, take one of these, like little gummies. Gave me 2. He said, take 2 of these. So I took half or one. Anyway, knocked me out. I fell asleep before we'd taken off, and I woke up when we were landing. I was like that's basically like a sleeping tablet without the concerns of having a sleeping tablet. I was like, that's amazing. Got back to the UK, Googled it, couldn't find any melatonin to buy because apparently it's illegal to get it over the counter here, or it's not authorised over the counter here. So a friend of mine gave me some from the States. And the other week I had like 3 or 4 nights where, and when I say I can't sleep, people think I'm like, whatever you call it. I go to bed and within 5 seconds I'm asleep. But it's just I wake up at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m.
You've been doing that a long time.
Forever, since I was 15, 16. So when I get really tired and I know my body battery's low and I need to get a good night's sleep, the other night I took 2 melatonin gummies and 450 milligrams of magnesium. You shouldn't really take that much, so don't take that as advice. But I took that and I slept for I think it was like 8 hours 35. I woke up, literally felt like a new man and was like, wow, this is incredible. But you can't get it in the UK, but you can get it in Spain and America and places like that.
I've got one hack to finish, and that is 10-minute dad. Do you know what that is?
No.
You weren't there. This was when you had Harper. It was the board session. We were taught this. So 10-minute dad is one for all the parents out there, and any parent. And the concept is, when you may not have this anymore, but sometimes you kind of come in from a big day, it's been intense, you're tired, you walk in, you know that you're going to have to deal with kids and shouting and all the chaos that comes with kids. When I walk into my house, it's quite overwhelming, like the amount that's going on. But you basically, before you walk in, you go, right, 10-minute dad. All I've got to do is be the best dad I can possibly be for 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes, that's all I've got to do. And of course, you get in there with that mindset, and within 2 minutes, you've forgotten about it. It was stressful, and you just settle into it, and you have the best time ever. But it's just mentally framing the fact that, not going into the house and thinking, I've got 3 hours to get through till bedtime. So no, go and be your best for 10 minutes to your kids and see what happens. I've started doing that quite a lot, actively saying to myself, right, 10 minutes, dad. I'm tired, you're exhausted, they're going to want to jump on you, they're going to play with you. By the time you've done that 10 minutes, they're bored of you anyway, and they're back to themselves. But if you try and avoid them, that's where they want more energy. So 10-minute dad.
I'm going to give it a go. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Nicely done. That was good, wasn't it?